The massive chamber fell silent as Zakthul stepped forward. His forearms held data tablets while his large eyes scanned the assembled council members. The blue glow from the chamber's walls cast strange shadows across his scaled face. He had spent 20 years studying the creatures from the third planet of the Yellow Star System. Today he would finally present his findings. "Honored council members," Zakthul began, his voice echoing in the vast space. "I present the final report on species Terra Prime 001, the beings who call themselves humans." The council chamber held representatives from 47 different worlds. Some had tentacles, others had wings, and a few looked like walking crystals. But they all shared one thing in common. They were all afraid of what they might hear about the humans. Zakthul activated his first display. Images of Earth appeared in the air above the council floor. Green and blue swirled together in beautiful patterns. It looked peaceful. It looked safe. But Zakthul knew better. "Do not let this world's beauty fool you," he said. "The creatures living there are the most dangerous we have ever encountered. They are apex predators in every sense of the word." Councilmember Veltara leaned forward in her seat. Her silver skin gleamed as she spoke. "Explain this claim, researcher. What makes them so dangerous?" Zakthul touched his tablet. New images filled the air. These showed humans running across vast plains, chasing large animals. The humans never stopped. They just kept running until their prey collapsed from exhaustion. "They evolved as persistence hunters," Zakthul explained. "While other predators rely on speed or strength, humans simply refuse to give up. They will chase their prey for days without stopping. Their bodies are designed for endless endurance." The council members shifted uneasily in their seats. Many of them came from prey species. The idea of a predator that never stopped hunting made their skin crawl. "But surely their civilization has moved beyond such primitive behavior," said Council Member Drexnor. His insect-like features twitched nervously. Zakthul's expression grew darker. "I wish that were true. But observe their entertainment." The air filled with scenes from human movies and television. Explosions lit up the chamber. Humans with weapons fought against other humans. Spaceships destroyed each other in brilliant flashes of light. The sounds of battle echoed off the walls. "They create fiction about war and conflict for pleasure," Zakthul continued. "Their most popular stories involve violence and destruction. They teach their young to admire warriors and soldiers. Even their games simulate combat and conquest." "Commander," Yixaloth stood up from his position near the back of the chamber. His armored body gleamed under the lights. As head of the Council Defense Forces, he had seen many dangerous species. But nothing like this. "What of their military capabilities?" he asked in his deep voice. Zakthul nodded grimly. "They have weaponized everything, Commander. They split atoms to create bombs that can destroy entire cities. They have turned diseases into weapons. They have even learned to use space itself as a weapon, dropping objects from orbit to devastate their enemies." The chamber filled with worried murmurs. Several council members spoke to each other in hushed tones. The crystal beings made soft chiming sounds that indicated fear. "How many wars have they fought?" asked Veltara. "We stopped counting at 10,000, Zakthul replied. "They have been fighting each other for their entire recorded history. Even now there are conflicts happening on their world. They seem incapable of living in peace." Senior Arbiter Kelnoth raised one of his 6 hands. The ancient being had lived longer than anyone else in the chamber. His wise eyes had seen the rise and fall of countless civilizations. When he spoke, everyone listened. "These are serious accusations, researcher. But they are still just one species on one world. Surely they cannot threaten the entire galaxy." Zakthul's face grew even more grave. "That is where you are wrong, honored Arbiter. Their technology advances at an unprecedented rate. 50 years ago, they could barely fly. Today, they have machines exploring the outer edges of their solar system." New images appeared showing human spacecraft. The Council watched as robots landed on Mars and sent back pictures. They saw space stations orbiting Earth. They watched as humans walked on their own moon. At their current rate of advancement, Zakthul continued, they will achieve faster than light travel within 50 years, maybe less. And when they do, they will spread across the galaxy like a plague. Commander Yixaloth stepped forward. Then we must act now, while they are still confined to their system. A single strike could eliminate the threat before it spreads. No! The voice belonged to Senior Arbiter Kel Noth. Despite his age, his voice was strong and clear. The Council has laws. We do not destroy species without cause. We do not attack civilizations that have not threatened us. Have not threatened us? Commander Yixaloth's voice rose. Did you not hear the researchers' report? They are apex predators with weapons of mass destruction. Their entire culture revolves around conflict and conquest. What more threat do you need? Veltara spoke up. The commander has a point. Look at what they did to their own world's large animals. The great beasts that once roamed their planet are extinct, killed by human hunters. If they did that to their own world's creatures, what will they do to us? More worried sounds filled the chamber. The council members were scared. Zakthul's report painted a picture of a species unlike anything they had encountered. Most civilizations developed wisdom along with technology. They learned to control their aggressive instincts. They chose cooperation over conflict. But humans seemed different. They appeared to grow more dangerous as they became more advanced. Their weapons grew, deadlier while their conflicts continued. It was a terrifying combination. Senior Arbiter Kel Noth stood slowly. His ancient body moved with difficulty, but his mind was sharp. I understand your fears, but we are not barbarians. We do not destroy entire species based on speculation and fear. It is not speculation, Zakthul protested. I have data from 50 years of observation. Every piece of evidence points to the same conclusion. Humans are killers. It is their nature. Then we observe the law, Kel Noth said firmly. We make contact. We attempt peaceful communication. Only if they prove hostile do we consider other options. Commander Yixaloth's armor clanked as he moved. That is madness. You want to reveal ourselves to apex predators? You want to tell them we exist and show them our technology? They will use that knowledge to find us and destroy us. The law is clear, Kel Noth replied. First contact must be attempted before any hostile action can be considered. It has been our way for 10,000 years. We will not abandon it now because we are afraid. The debate continued for hours. Some council members supported the commander's position. They wanted to strike first, to eliminate the human threat before it could spread. Others agreed with the arbiter. They insisted on following the law and attempting peaceful contact. Finally, a vote was called. The chamber fell silent as each member cast their decision. The crystal beings chimed their votes. The insect species clicked theirs. The mammalian species spoke theirs aloud. When the counting finished, Senior Arbiter Kel Noth announced the result. The council has decided. We will attempt first contact with the human species. A diplomatic mission will be prepared immediately. Commander Yixaloth's face showed his displeasure. This is a mistake. We are inviting our own destruction. Perhaps, Kel Noth admitted, but it is the right thing to do. We cannot let fear drive us to become the very monsters we claim to protect the galaxy from. Ambassador Threndal stepped forward. He had been quiet during the entire debate, but now his time had come. As the Council's most experienced diplomat, he would lead the mission to Earth. I will take a small ship, he announced. Minimal crew. If the humans prove hostile, at least we will not lose many lives learning the truth. Zakthul approached the ambassador. Be careful, honored diplomat. You are about to meet the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. They may seem civilized, but do not forget what they truly are. Ambassador Threndal nodded grimly. He had read every page of Zakthul's report. He knew what humans were capable of. He knew their history of violence and war. He knew about their weapons and their aggressive nature. As he prepared to leave the chamber, Threndal wondered if he was flying toward his death. The humans had killed their own planet's great beasts. They had fought countless wars against each other. They had created weapons that could destroy worlds. What would they do to a ship full of aliens? The ambassador tried not to think about it as he walked toward his ship. In a few days, he would find out what kind of creatures humans really were. He just hoped some of the council would survive to learn from whatever mistake they were about to make. Ambassador Threndal stared at the blue and green world growing larger on his ship's main screen. Earth looked peaceful from space, but he knew better. Somewhere down there lived the most dangerous predators the galaxy had ever seen. His 3 crew members moved quietly around the bridge, checking their instruments and preparing for what might be their final mission. Ambassador, called his communications officer, Nixtel. We are within range to send the standard diplomatic greeting. Should I transmit? Threndal took a deep breath. Once they sent that message, there would be no going back. The humans would know aliens existed. They would know exactly where to find them. If Zakthul's research was correct, this might be the moment that doomed the galaxy. Send the message, he ordered. The transmission went out on all frequencies. It was the same greeting the Council had used for centuries when meeting new species. Simple mathematical sequences followed by peaceful intentions. The message was designed to show intelligence without revealing too much about Council technology. They waited. The ship drifted silently through space as Earth continued its slow rotation below them. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Threndal began to wonder if the humans had received the message at all. Suddenly, every alarm on the ship started screaming. Ambassador! Nixtel's voice was filled with panic. We are detecting massive energy signatures from the planet's surface. Multiple launch sites are activating simultaneously. The main screen shifted to show Earth from a tactical perspective. Red dots appeared all across the planet's surface. Hundreds of them. Each one represented a potential weapon launch site. Military satellites are changing their orbits, reported the ship's sensor officer, Crixhan. They are moving to get clear shots at our position. Every major government on the planet appears to be coordinating their response. Threndal felt his worst fears coming true. The humans were not just dangerous individually. They were organized. They were working together as a unified species to respond to the alien threat. This was exactly what Commander Yixloth had warned about. Are they targeting us? Threndal asked. Not yet, Crixhan replied. But they are definitely tracking our position. Their weapon systems are powered up and ready to fire. The communications panel lit up with incoming signals. Dozens of messages were being broadcast from Earth, all on different frequencies. Some were in languages the ship's computer could not identify. Others were simple radio signals that seemed to be attempts at contact. Ambassador, Nixtel said, I am receiving a priority transmission from what appears to be their primary space agency. Should I put it through? Threndal nodded. If the humans wanted to talk before they attacked, he would listen. Maybe he could learn something useful before he died. The main screen changed to show a human face. Threndal had seen images of humans in Zakthul's reports, but seeing one alive was different. The creature had small eyes and a flat face covered in what looked like fur. It was exactly as frightening as he had expected. Greetings, the human said. I am Dr. Alan Brooks, director of NASA. We have received your transmission and are honored by your contact. Threndal was surprised. The human's voice was calm. There was no obvious aggression or threat. But that might be part of their hunting strategy. Apex predators often appeared calm before they struck. We have activated our defense protocols, Dr. Brooks continued, and are conducting a full threat assessment of your vessel. Please understand that this is standard procedure when encountering unknown technology. There it was. The human was admitting they were treating the council ship as a threat. They were preparing to attack. Threndal's hands moved toward the ship's emergency jump controls. Maybe they could escape before the humans fired, but something made him pause. The human's words were carefully chosen. He had said defense protocols and threat assessment. These were not the words of a creature preparing to attack. They were the words of someone who was afraid and trying to protect themselves. High above Earth, 2 humans floated inside the International Space Station. Lisa Yang pressed her face against the observation window, staring at the alien ship. Her crewmate, Commander Jake Martinez, floated beside her with a camera. Can you believe this, Jake? Lisa whispered. We are actually looking at a real alien spacecraft. Jake adjusted his camera settings to get a better image. This is the most amazing thing that has ever happened. I wish we could get closer. Think they are friendly? Lisa asked. I hope so, Jake replied. Look at their ship. It is beautiful. See how it curves and flows? That is not the design of a warship. That is the design of an explorer. Their conversation was being broadcast back to Earth on the standard astronaut communication channels. Unknown to them, the alien ship was intercepting and translating their words. Ambassador Threndal listened with growing confusion. These humans sounded excited. They sounded curious. They did not sound like predators preparing for battle. They sounded like creatures who were happy to meet new life. Back on Earth's surface, Dr. Brooks was preparing another transmission. Around him, the NASA control room buzzed with activity. Engineers and scientists worked at computer stations while military advisors spoke quietly in corners. Ambassador Threndal, Dr. Brooks said, using the name that had been included in the alien transmission. I want to assure you that Earth welcomes peaceful contact with your people. While we have taken defensive measures, we have no hostile intentions. President Helen Carter appeared on screens around the world as she prepared to address both her people and the alien visitors. She stood behind the presidential podium, her face serious but not unfriendly. Today marks the most important day in human history, she began. We are no longer alone in the universe. I want to speak directly to our visitors from the stars. You have traveled an unimaginable distance to reach us. Earth welcomes you in peace. Ambassador Threndal watched the president's speech with growing bewilderment. This was not how apex predators were supposed to behave. Where were the demands for surrender? Where were the threats of violence? Instead, the human leader was offering welcome and friendship. We understand that first contact between different species can be difficult, President Carter continued. We are prepared to move slowly and carefully. We want to learn about you, and we hope you want to learn about us. Our planet offers you friendship, trade, and cooperation. The ambassador's communications officer looked at him with confusion. Sir, are we sure these are the same creatures described in the research reports? They are acting nothing like apex predators. Before Threndal could answer, another transmission came from Earth. This one was different. It was not from a government or military organization. It was from Dr. Brooks again, but this time he was not alone. Ambassador Threndal, Dr. Brooks said, I would like to share something with you. These are messages from children around the world who have learned about your arrival. The screen filled with images of human young. They held up drawings and signs. Some of the pictures showed humans and aliens holding hands. Others showed spaceships and planets. The signs had words like welcome and friends written in colorful letters. One small human, a girl who looked very young, stepped forward. Hello, space people, she said in a high voice. My name is Sophie and I am 8 years old. I drew you a picture of us playing together. I hope you like it. I hope we can be friends. Ambassador Threndal stared at the screen in shock. The human child showed no fear at all. She was offering friendship to creatures she had never seen before. This was not the behavior of a predator species. This was something else entirely. Dr. Brooks appeared on screen again. Ambassador, I would like to formally invite you to visit Earth's surface. We have prepared a landing site at the United Nations headquarters in New York City. Our greatest diplomats and scientists are waiting to meet you. The transmission continued with more images and sounds from Earth. Music played from different cultures around the world. Artists had created sculptures celebrating the first contact. Poets had written verses about the historic moment. We know you must be cautious, Dr. Brooks said. We know this is as strange for you as it is for us, but please know that Earth offers you nothing but friendship and respect. We hope you will give us the chance to prove that humans are worthy of your trust. Ambassador Threndal turned to his crew. They all looked as confused as he felt. Everything they had been told about humans was proving wrong. These creatures were not acting like dangerous predators. They were acting like a species that genuinely wanted peace. Sir, Nixtel said quietly, their military forces are still active. Their weapons are still powered. They could attack us at any moment. Yes, Threndal replied slowly. But they have not attacked. They have had hours to strike at us, and instead they have sent messages of welcome and friendship. He thought about Zakthul's research. The humans had indeed fought many wars. They had created terrible weapons. They had driven other species extinct. But maybe there was more to their story than the research had revealed. Ambassador, Crixan said, what are your orders? Do we accept their invitation, or do we retreat? Threndal looked at the blue and green world below. Somewhere down there, millions of humans were looking up at the stars and hoping for friendship. Children were drawing pictures of aliens and humans playing together. The alien ship descended through Earth's atmosphere like a silver teardrop. Ambassador Threndal watched the ground grow closer through his viewing port. Below him, the city of New York spread out in all directions. Millions of humans lived down there. Millions of apex predators who might be waiting to capture or kill him. Landing zone is clear, Ambassador, reported Nixtel. The humans have marked the landing area with lights and symbols. They appear to be guiding us to a safe touchdown. Threndal nodded, but kept his hand near the emergency escape controls. If this was a trap, he wanted to be ready to flee. The ship touched down gently in the plaza outside the United Nations building. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then the noise began. Sir, Crixan called out, I am detecting thousands of life signs surrounding our position. They are moving closer. Threndal felt his blood freeze. This was it. The humans had lured them down to the surface, and now they were being surrounded. Soon the attack would begin. Are they armed? He asked. Crixan checked his sensors carefully. I am detecting very few weapons, sir. Most of the approaching humans appear to be carrying small objects, but they do not register as dangerous. That made no sense. If the humans were planning to attack, why were they not bringing weapons? Threndal activated the ship's external cameras to see what was happening outside. The sight that greeted him was unlike anything he had expected. Thousands of humans had gathered in the plaza, but they were not carrying weapons or showing signs of aggression. Instead, they held colorful signs with words like, Welcome to Earth and Peace Between Worlds. Many were holding flowers. Others carried what appeared to be gifts wrapped in bright paper. Children sat on their parents' shoulders, pointing at the ship with excitement. Groups of humans played musical instruments. Artists had set up easels and were painting pictures of the historic moment. Street performers juggled and danced while crowds cheered. This cannot be right, Threndal muttered. Where are the soldiers? Where are the weapons? There are security forces present, Crixan reported, but they are maintaining a perimeter around the crowd. They appear to be protecting us from being overwhelmed, not preparing to attack us. Dr. Alan Brooks appeared on the ship's communication screen. Behind him stood two other humans. Ambassador Threndal, welcome to Earth. I am here with Dr. Carlos Rivera, our lead xenobiologist, and Rebecca Stone, our chief diplomatic officer. We are honored by your presence. Dr. Rivera stepped forward. He was a middle-aged human with kind eyes and a gentle smile. Ambassador, I have spent my entire career hoping for this moment, the chance to meet life from another world. This is the greatest day of my life. Rebecca Stone moved closer to the camera. She was dressed in formal attire and spoke with practiced diplomacy. Ambassador, we understand this must be frightening for you. Meeting a new species is always dangerous. But please know that Earth offers you complete safety and protection while you are here. Threndal studied the three humans carefully. Their body language showed no signs of deception or hidden aggression. They appeared genuinely happy to see him. But how could that be possible? These were apex predators. They should be seeing him as either prey or competition. We have prepared a formal welcoming ceremony, Dr. Brooks continued. Representatives from every nation on Earth are here to greet you, but we will only proceed at your comfort level. If you need time to adjust, we can wait. The ambassador looked at his crew. They were all staring at the screens showing the crowds outside. None of them had ever seen anything like this. When the council made first contact with other species, there was usually fear, curiosity, or sometimes aggression, but never this kind of mass celebration. Sir, Nixtel said quietly. Their behavior does not match any of our models for apex predator species. They are acting more like social prey animals, showing pack bonding and cooperative behavior. Threndal made his decision. Open the hatch. We go outside. His crew looked at him with shock. Sir, Crixhan protested, we are surrounded by thousands of predators. This could be suicide. If they wanted to kill us, they would have done it already, Threndal replied. They have had plenty of opportunities. Instead, they have spent their time preparing a welcome celebration. I need to see what these creatures are really like. The ship's hatch opened with a soft hiss. Cool earth air flowed into the cabin carrying strange but pleasant smells. Threndal stepped out first, followed by his crew. The moment they appeared, the crowd erupted in cheers. The sound was overwhelming. Thousands of humans were shouting, clapping, and celebrating, but there was no aggression in the noise. It sounded like joy. Pure, simple joy at meeting beings from another world. Dr. Rivera approached slowly, his hands visible and empty. He moved carefully, making no sudden movements that might frighten the aliens. Ambassador, may I be the first human to officially welcome you to Earth? Threndal studied the human carefully. Dr. Rivera was close enough to attack, but his posture showed no threat. Instead, he seemed nervous, excited, and hopeful. Behind him, Rebecca Stone carried a small box. These are gifts from the people of Earth, she explained, offering the box. Food from different cultures, water from our purest sources, and small items that represent human art and creativity. We hope you will accept them as tokens of friendship. Threndal took the box with trembling hands. Inside, he found fruits, bottles of clear liquid, small sculptures, and pieces of jewelry. They were beautiful objects, clearly made with care and skill. But more importantly, they were offerings of friendship, not tools of conquest. A group of human children approached, led by their teachers. They had been practicing for hours to perform for their alien visitors. The smallest one, a girl with dark hair and bright eyes, stepped forward. Hello, space friends, she said in a clear voice. My name is Sophie Chen. We made something special for you. The children began to sing. Their voices joined together in a simple melody about friendship and peace. They sang about stars and planets, about different worlds learning to live together. Some of the children were so excited they could barely stand still. Ambassador Threndal felt something strange happening inside his chest. The children's voices were beautiful, but more than that, they were pure. There was no deception, no hidden meaning. These young humans genuinely wanted to be friends with creatures they had never seen before. When the song ended, Sophie stepped forward again. She held up a drawing she had made with colored pencils. It showed stick figures representing humans and aliens holding hands under a bright sun. At the bottom, she had written, "Friends Forever," in shaky letters. "This is for you," she said, offering the picture to Threndal. "I hope you like it. I hope we can be friends and play together." Threndal took the drawing with hands that shook slightly. He looked down at the simple artwork created by a child who had no fear of aliens, no suspicion of their motives. She simply wanted to be friends. "Thank you, young one," he managed to say. "It is very beautiful." Sophie beamed with happiness and ran back to her classmates. They all waved at the aliens and cheered when Threndal waved back. Dr. Brooks stepped forward to begin the formal ceremonies. "Ambassador, if you are ready, we would like to show you some of what makes humanity special. We have prepared presentations about our cultures, our sciences, and our hopes for the future." The next few hours passed like a dream. Threndal was taken on a tour of human achievements. He saw hospitals where humans dedicated their lives to healing the sick and injured. He visited schools where knowledge was shared freely with anyone who wanted to learn. He watched as humans worked together on projects to clean their environment and protect other species. At the Museum of Natural History, Dr. Rivera showed him displays about Earth's extinct animals. "We made terrible mistakes in our past," he admitted, sadly. "We drove many beautiful creatures to extinction through hunting and habitat destruction. But we learned from those mistakes. Now we work hard to protect the animals that remain. Rebecca Stone took him to the United Nations building, where representatives from nearly every human government had gathered. Ambassador, I want you to understand something important about our species. We have not always been peaceful. We have fought terrible wars and done horrible things to each other, but we have also learned to work together. She showed him the UN Charter, explaining how humans from different cultures and backgrounds had agreed to settle disputes through talking rather than fighting. We are not perfect, she said honestly. We still have conflicts and disagreements, but we keep trying to be better than we were before. Throughout the day, Threndal noticed something that confused him more and more. The human security forces were always present, but they were not guarding against the aliens. They were protecting the aliens from being overwhelmed by too many excited humans who wanted to meet them. When a small accident occurred nearby, several humans immediately stopped what they were doing to help the injured person. They risked their own safety to aid a stranger, even though it gained them nothing. At dinner, Threndal was invited to eat with the Peterson family in their home. John and Mary Peterson had volunteered to show the aliens how normal humans lived. Their children, Bobby and Emma, had spent all day making welcome signs and practicing how to say hello in what they thought might be alien languages. Ambassador Threndal spent the next 3 days observing human behavior more closely. Each day brought new surprises that challenged everything the Council believed about apex predators. He requested to see different aspects of human society, trying to understand how these creatures could be both dangerous and kind at the same time. Dr. Brooks arranged for the ambassador to visit a military base. Threndal expected to see the true nature of human aggression there. Instead, he met Colonel Rick Hayes, a career soldier who spent his free time showing pictures of his newborn daughter to anyone who would listen. "This is little Amy, Colonel," Hayes said proudly, holding up his communication device. "She was born last month. Look at those tiny fingers. I cannot wait to get home and read her bedtime stories." The other soldiers gathered around, sharing their own family photos and stories. Sergeant Tony Lopez talked about his son's soccer games. Lieutenant Kate Morrison showed videos of her wedding day. These were supposed to be Earth's most dangerous warriors, but they acted like any other humans who loved their families. "Colonel," Threndal asked carefully, "do you enjoy fighting wars?" Colonel Hayes's expression grew serious. "No, Ambassador. No soldier enjoys war. We train to fight because sometimes fighting is necessary to protect the people we love. But we would rather spend our time at home with our families than on any battlefield." At the base hospital, Threndal watched human medics treating injured soldiers with incredible care and skill. Dr. Sarah Martinez had spent 15 years learning to save lives. She worked 18-hour days helping people recover from injuries and illnesses. "Why do you do this work?" Threndal asked her. Dr. Martinez paused while bandaging a patient's wounded arm. "Because every life matters, Ambassador. When someone is hurt, we help them. It does not matter if they are friend or enemy, soldier or civilian. Pain is pain, and we try to stop it whenever we can." The ambassador watched as Dr. Martinez treated soldiers from different countries with equal care. Some had been enemies in past conflicts, but in the hospital, they were all just people who needed healing. At a nearby research facility, Dr. Brooks introduced Threndal to teams of scientists working on various projects. Dr. Jennifer Park was developing new medicines to fight diseases. Dr. Robert Kim was studying ways to clean pollution from Earth's oceans. Dr. Lisa Wong was working on technologies to grow food in areas where nothing would normally survive. "We share all our research freely," Dr. Park explained. "When we discover something that could help people, we publish our findings so scientists everywhere can use them. Knowledge belongs to everyone, not just to those who discover it." Threndal was amazed. "You give away your discoveries? You do not keep them secret to maintain advantage over your enemies?" Dr. Kim laughed. "Ambassador, diseases and pollution are the real enemies. Other humans are not our enemies. They are our partners in making life better for everyone." The ambassador requested to observe human families in different environments. He wanted to understand how apex predators raise their young. The experience left him even more confused about human nature. At a local school, Teacher Mrs. Linda Foster showed him how human children learned. Instead of training them to be better killers, the humans taught their young to read, to think, to create art, and to work together with others. We teach them to be kind, Mrs. Foster explained. We show them how to share, how to help friends who are struggling, how to care for animals and plants. We want them to grow up to be good people who make the world better. During recess, Threndal watched the children play. When one child fell and hurt himself, the others immediately stopped their games to help. They showed no signs of seeing weakness as an opportunity to attack. Instead, they showed concern and offered comfort. 8-year-old Sophie Chen ran up to the ambassador during lunch break. "Mr. Threndal, do you want to see something cool?" She led him to a corner of the playground where several children were taking care of injured animals. A bird with a hurt wing rested in a small box lined with soft cloth. A squirrel with a bandaged paw ate nuts from a tiny dish. "We found them hurt and we are making them better," Sophie explained. "My mom says we should always help creatures who cannot help themselves. When they are strong again, we will let them go free." Threndal stared at the scene in wonder. These human children were using their time and energy to heal creatures that provided them no benefit. They were being kind simply because kindness was the right thing to do. That evening, Threndal requested to meet with elderly humans. He wanted to understand how a lifetime of being apex predators affected their thinking. Dr. Brooks arranged for him to meet Sophie's grandmother, Mrs. Ellen Chen. Mrs. Chen was 83 years old and had lived through many of humanity's worst conflicts. She had survived wars, seen terrible cruelty, and experienced the darkest aspects of human nature. But when she spoke to the ambassador, her words were filled with hope rather than bitterness. "I have seen humans do terrible things," she admitted. "I lived through World War II, when people did horrible things to each other because of fear and hatred. I saw my own family suffer because others thought we were different and dangerous." Threndal listened carefully. This seemed more like what he had expected from apex predators. "But I also saw humans risk their lives to save strangers," Mrs. Chen continued. "I saw enemies become friends. I saw people choose to forgive instead of seeking revenge. I learned that humans can be cruel, but we can also choose to be better than our worst impulses." She showed him old photographs from her youth. "This man saved my family during the war," she said, pointing to a picture. "He was supposed to be our enemy, but he saw that we were just people who needed help. He risked his own life to protect us because it was the right thing to do." Mrs. Chen's stories revealed something important to Threndal. Humans were indeed capable of great cruelty and violence, but they were also capable of great kindness and sacrifice. More importantly, they seemed to actively choose kindness whenever possible. "We learn from our mistakes," Mrs. Chen explained. "Each generation tries to be better than the one before. We teach our children about the horrors of war so they will choose peace. We remember our cruelty so we can choose compassion instead." The next day, Dr. Brooks took Threndal to see conservation efforts around the world. Via video links, they visited places where humans were working to save endangered species and restore damaged environments. In Africa, they met Dr. Kevin Brown, who had spent 20 years protecting elephants from poachers. In the Amazon, Dr. Maria Santos showed them how humans were replanting forests that had been destroyed. In the Arctic, researchers were studying climate change to find ways to protect polar bears and other threatened species. "We almost destroyed our world," Dr. Brooks admitted sadly. "We cut down forests, polluted rivers, and drove many species extinct. But when we realized what we were doing, we stopped. Now we spend billions of dollars and countless hours trying to fix the damage we caused." Threndal found this behavior completely baffling. From an evolutionary standpoint, it made no sense. Why would apex predators spend resources to help creatures that provided them no survival advantage? "Because it is right," Dr. Brooks said simply when the ambassador asked. "Because those creatures deserve to live just as much as we do. Because we want our children to inherit a world full of life and beauty, not a dead planet we destroyed through selfishness." That afternoon, tragedy struck near the UN building. A traffic accident occurred when two vehicles collided at high speed. Without being asked or ordered, dozens of humans immediately rushed to help. Dr. Rivera, who was walking with Threndal at the time, ran toward the wreckage. "Come on, Ambassador. People are hurt." Threndal watched in amazement as humans worked together to rescue the accident victims. They used their own tools and clothing to stop bleeding. They risked injury to themselves, pulling people from damaged vehicles. They called for medical help and directed traffic to prevent more accidents. "We have to stop our meeting," Dr. Rivera said firmly. "These people need help right now. Everything else can wait." For 30 minutes, Threndal observed humans putting the welfare of strangers above their own comfort and safety. No one had ordered them to help. No one was paying them or rewarding them. They helped because other humans were in pain. When the ambulances arrived, the humans stepped back to let the professionals work. They offered water to the injured, contact information to worried families, and comfort to frightened children. Then they quietly returned to their daily activities as if risking themselves for strangers was perfectly normal. "Why did they do that?" Threndal asked Dr. Rivera as they walked away. "Because they needed help," Dr. Rivera replied, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. That evening, Threndal sat alone in his quarters, trying to make sense of everything he had observed. According to all known models of predator behavior, humans should be selfish, aggressive, and focused only on their own survival and reproduction. Instead, they routinely sacrificed their own interests to help others. They spent resources caring for creatures that provided no benefit. They taught their children to be kind rather than ruthless. They chose cooperation over competition whenever possible. Mrs. Chen's words echoed in his mind. "We can choose to be better than our worst impulses." Ambassador Threndal stood before the Galactic Council once again, but this time everything was different. The massive chamber felt smaller somehow. The assembled representatives from 47 worlds looked exactly as they had before, but Threndal saw them with new eyes. He had spent a week among apex predators and learned what true strength looked like. "Honored council members," he began, his voice steady and clear. "I have returned from Earth with findings that will challenge everything we thought we knew about predator species." The chamber was silent. Commander Yixloth leaned forward in his seat, expecting to hear confirmation of humanity's dangerous nature. Veltara's silver skin gleamed as she prepared to listen to reports of human aggression. Even Senior Arbiter Kelnoth waited quietly for the ambassador's assessment. "The humans are indeed apex predators," Threndal continued. "Everything in researcher Zachthal's report was accurate. They evolved as persistence hunters. They have fought countless wars. They have created weapons capable of destroying worlds. They have driven other species to extinction." Commander Yixaloth nodded with satisfaction. This was what he had expected to hear. "However," Threndal said, and the single word changed the entire atmosphere in the chamber, "they are also something else. Something we have never encountered before in all our centuries of exploration." The ambassador activated his holographic display. Images from Earth appeared in the air above the council floor. The first showed human soldiers sharing pictures of their families. The second showed children caring for injured animals. The third showed strangers rushing to help victims of an accident. "These creatures have evolved beyond their biological programming," Threndal explained. "They possess the capacity for incredible violence, but they choose compassion instead. They have the power to destroy, but they choose to heal and protect." Veltara's voice carried skepticism. "Ambassador, are you suggesting that apex predators have somehow learned to be peaceful? That seems impossible." "Not peaceful," Threndal corrected. "They are still capable of great violence when necessary, but they have learned to choose when and how to use that capacity. They fight only to protect others, not to dominate or conquer." He showed more images. Human doctors treating enemies with the same care as friends. Scientists sharing their discoveries freely with the world. Families teaching their children to be kind to those who were different or weak. "They call it choosing to be better than their nature allows," Threndal said. "They actively work against their own predatory instincts. They have built entire civilizations around the concept of helping others rather than harming them." Commander Yixloth stood up, his armor clanking. "This is impossible, Ambassador. Apex predators do not simply choose to ignore millions of years of evolution. Either these humans are deceiving you, or you have been compromised by spending too much time among them. Threndal expected this response. Commander, I thought the same thing initially, but consider this evidence. He activated new displays showing human military capabilities. The humans possess weapons that could destroy their entire planet many times over, he explained. They have had these weapons for decades. They have used them in anger before. Yet, they choose not to use them now, even during conflicts with other humans. The display showed images of human nuclear arsenals, carefully maintained but never deployed. It showed international treaties limiting weapons development. It showed military leaders choosing negotiation over warfare whenever possible. They could have conquered their entire world through force, Threndal continued. Instead, they created international laws. They built organizations dedicated to peaceful conflict resolution. They choose to talk rather than fight, even when fighting would be easier. Senior Arbiter Kelnoth spoke thoughtfully. Ambassador, this behavior does seem unusual for a predator species. But how can we be certain it is genuine? Perhaps this is simply a more sophisticated form of predatory behavior. I considered that possibility, Threndal replied. But observe this. The holographic display showed Sophie Chen drawing pictures of humans and aliens playing together. It showed her grandmother sharing stories of human cruelty and human kindness. It showed children singing songs of friendship to beings they had never seen before. Their young are taught to be kind, Threndal explained. They are not trained to be better killers or more effective predators. They are taught to help others, to share resources, to care for creatures weaker than themselves. This is not predatory behavior. This is something entirely different. Dr. Alan Brooks appeared on the display, speaking directly to the council through a pre-recorded message that Threndal had requested. Honored members of the Galactic Council, Dr. Brooks said, I am Dr. Alan Brooks, representing the people of Earth. We know that our species has a violent history. We know that we have made terrible mistakes. But we want you to know that we have learned from those mistakes. The human scientist continued his presentation. We offer the galaxy not our weapons or our military strength, but our knowledge of cooperation and empathy. We have learned how to turn enemies into friends, how to transform conflict into collaboration. We want to share this knowledge with anyone who will listen. Dr. Brooks was joined on screen by Dr. Rivera and Rebecca Stone. Behind them stood representatives from every major human government, scientists from different countries, and children from around the world. We do not seek to dominate or conquer, Rebecca Stone said. We seek partnership. We want to learn from you as much as we want to teach. We believe that together, we can build something better than any of us could achieve alone. Dr. Rivera stepped forward. We offer joint research programs, cultural exchanges, and collaborative exploration of the galaxy. We ask not for submission or surrender, but for friendship and mutual respect. The most powerful moment came when 8-year-old Sophie Chen appeared on the screen. She held up her drawing of humans and aliens holding hands under the stars. Hello, Council people, she said in her clear young voice. My name is Sophie and I am 8 years old. I want to be friends with everyone in the galaxy. I want to learn about your worlds and your families. I want to help make space a happy place where everyone is nice to each other. When the message ended, the council chamber was completely silent. The representatives stared at the images of human kindness with expressions of amazement and confusion. Veltara was the first to speak. Ambassador, if what you are showing us is true, then humans represent something unprecedented in galactic history, a predator species that has evolved genuine altruism. That is correct, Threndal confirmed. They are not the threat we believe them to be. They may actually be the solution to many of the galaxy's problems. He activated one final display. Consider the conflicts we currently face in the outer systems. The territorial disputes between the Zephyrian Empire and the Crystal Collective, the trade wars in the Spiral Arms, the resource conflicts in the Neutral Zone. The display showed various galactic trouble spots where different species were in conflict with each other. We have tried military intervention, Threndal said. We have tried economic sanctions. We have tried diplomatic isolation. Nothing has worked because we have never understood how to transform enemies into allies. He gestured toward the images of humans. These creatures have mastered that skill. They have turned their entire planet from a collection of warring tribes into a cooperative civilization. They can teach us how to do the same thing on a galactic scale. Commander Yixloth remained skeptical. Even if what you say is true, Ambassador, how can we trust them? How do we know they will not revert to their predatory nature once they gain access to our technology and star charts? Because they had the opportunity to take advantage of us while I was on their world, Threndal replied. My ship contains technology far beyond their current capabilities. They could have captured it, studied it, used it to advance their own military power. Instead, they protected us and sent us home safely with gifts of friendship. He showed the council the items he had brought back from Earth, artworks created by human children, scientific papers shared freely by human researchers, music composed to celebrate first contact, seeds from Earth plants offered as gifts to be grown on other worlds. They gave us treasures, not weapons, Threndal said. They shared beauty, not battle plans. They offered partnership, not domination. Senior Arbiter Kelnoth stood slowly, his ancient form moving with dignity. Ambassador Threndal, do you formally recommend that humanity be invited to join the Galactic Council? I do more than recommend it, Threndal replied. I believe humanity should be given a special designation within our civilization. They are not simply another member species. They are teachers who can show us all how to be better than our nature allows. The debate that followed lasted for hours. Representatives argued about the risks and benefits of accepting a predator species into their peaceful alliance. Some worried about human aggression. Others questioned whether human kindness was genuine or simply sophisticated deception. Finally, a vote was called. The chamber fell silent as each species cast their decision. The crystal beings chimed their approval. The insect species clicked their agreement. One by one, the representatives chose to trust in humanity's demonstrated compassion.